Scott's gonna lead on it.
Okay. Here for the ride. No.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of foundational questions, mostly
Okay.
just to get them kind of on here.
Sure.
So what's your name and what grade do you teach?
Katie Anson, and I teach kindergarten.
Awesome. How long have you been teaching kindergarten?
This is my second year.
Okay. And second year at this school too?
Second year at this school. Second year teaching altogether.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Newbie.
What are some challenges of teaching kindergarten specifically?
Behavior, I'd say, is the number one thing. For a lot, not a lot of our students, but a fair amount, this is their first time ever in school. So even just the concept of being in a classroom or having to be in a line or having to interact with other people is all new to them. The actual teaching part is pretty easy content-wise, obviously. I mean, it's like alphabet and, numbers. But getting them to the point where they're actually focused enough to receive instruction is the biggest challenge.
What about the biggest rewards of kindergarten?
It's because it's the first time they're learning anything, so that's the best part. Like when something clicks, they're so excited and just so eager to learn, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I probably will want to round back on the when something clicks.
Yeah.
A little bit later as we talk through some of this stuff.
Sure.
So can you give us a kind of high-level overview of lesson planning for you?
Yeah, so our school does something called collaborative planning. So once every quarter, we get together with the whole grade level team, our administrators, and our instructional coach, and we basically map out what the entire quarter is going to look like. Not down to, I don't leave with a daily lesson plan, but I leave knowing I could pick a date on a calendar and say, oh, this day I'm teaching character, or this day I'm teaching addition. So we really map everything out all together. We do a specific type of lesson planning called explicit direct instruction, and it follows a certain formula. So everyone in the school is using the same lesson planning template, and we all need to be planning our lessons according to this certain protocol.
Cool.
For the most part.
And so you said you wouldn't necessarily plan it to having daily lessons, but it does sound like you are planning to the day. At
Oh,
least
and
some
now
of
I
the-
am. Yeah, so that's the part that I take over. So
At that stage, though.
Yeah.
So at that stage, it's still that you know, like you said, what day.
you're
what
mapping it
day,
out. Yeah.
Right, but and then after that, you're going through and
Then I'm
actually
going
doing
through
the daily.
exactly.
pieces.
I'm like, oh, I'm teaching character on September 27th. Okay, now let me write my lesson plan, and that part's on me.
And so are you doing, you said quarterly, so you'll do that when?
We just had
for
ours
the-
on Monday
Okay,
for the upcoming quarter.
got
Yeah.
it. Okay. When does that happen during the summer?
We get together in usually July.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Can you tell me a little bit about those sessions, kind of how they
Yeah, they're intense, but I actually really like them. I really like content and lesson planning. That's two of my favorite things about teaching, actually. So we start with usually broad topics, a big overarching concept that ties all of our disciplines together. So for example, this upcoming quarter, we're focusing on relationships.
Okay.
So everything that we teach is kind of through the scope of what the relationship is between parts. So we'll all come together and decide what that overarching topic is going to be. And then we break down into content areas. So usually I do ELA, my teammate does math, and so I'll sit down with the principal, she'll sit down with the vice principal, and we'll look through all the standards that we need to teach. And we'll kind of arrange what the flow is that we think that they should go in, so what order we should do everything in. And then we come back together and we pretty much just start sticking things on the calendar and mapping it out. We're also a STEAM school, so it's science, technology, engineering, math, and art and math, excuse me. So we have one big giant project that we're working on every quarter. So that's another part of our planning sessions, is we figure out how all of these standards that we have to teach can fit into this one big science project.
Okay.
Is it a grade-wide or a
Grade
class?
wide, yeah.
When you've got, one teacher kind of more focusing on ELA, one on math, at what level, so if it's a subject that you're not focusing on, at what level you're still kind of, those teachers are mapping out at kind of a high level, quarterly.
Right.
You're still doing the daily lesson planning for
I'm
each of
not
them?
actually.
Or you're not? Okay.
No, so we split that up too. So there's some things that I'm very close to the other teachers, like we're really good friends, so we might do it differently than other people at our school. But I take ELA and I plan all the daily
Oh,
lesson
cool.
plans. She takes math, does everything daily, and we just teach each other's plans. And then there's certain content areas that will come together and co-plan, so like phonics or science, social studies, and we'll just plan those side by side.
Okay. Why do you co-plan some and not others?
Our big focus here, I think it probably in any school, like the big focus is usually reading and math, and those are the ones that like, there's a certain way you need to do it and you can't mess it up.
Yeah.
So they take more time. So those ones we do on the weekends and we just kind of like hunker out down and do our own thing. Where like science is something that we'll usually plan during our planning period. So it could be more like on the fly, it's like structured. We don't need to follow that same lesson plan template I was referring to. So I think just because we have more freedom, it's easier to lesson plan together on
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
And it's more activity based. So sometimes it's just like, I found this cute thing on Pinterest, you know?
Do you guys, what do you use for math?
We don't have like a program. Well, that's a lie. We have Go Math, but we don't use it. Yeah.
So your co-teacher?
Yeah,
or
she doesn't, we don't
She
use
really
it.
just,
No, like
makes the
we
lesson
have to have
whatever.
it, yeah, in our cabinet,
Okay.
but that's like the extent
okay.
of it.
Okay. Let's go into some of the specifics then of like
Yeah.
daily lesson plan. I mean, we might end up jumping around a little
No,
bit
you're
as
good.
questions come up.
I jump
but,
around as I talk, so that's.
Yeah, but can we talk through like the daily part
Yeah.
and get that granular?
Yeah, so we plan by weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So all of our lesson plans here are due the Sunday before the week.
Okay.
So by then you need to have a weekly grid of I can show you.
Yeah, and if
You
you
want us
could
to come
show us
over
the
there
template.
or? Okay.
So this is what we'll teach off of each other. So she'll make one of these for me for math, and I'll make one for her for ELA, and it just kind of goes through Monday through Friday, and it'll tell you like the target is what you're going to be doing for that day, and then you read it vertically. So prior knowledge, like how we're going to get them engaged in the lesson, what we're actually teaching would be there, any type of videos that we're going to do, skill steps, how we're actually teaching them to do it, relevance and closure, and every lesson plan that we do has all of those components every time. So this is what we're planning the week before, like that's the extent of like a lesson plan.
Okay.
Unless it's something like, we also do like close reading with books. So if we have something like that, you might get a template that has more like bullet point questions and things like that.
What does CFU stand for?
Check for understanding, yeah.
So when you're putting together one of these, and maybe we can talk through one that you had,
Yeah.
one here, it's like, can you take us through start to finish?
How I would plan it?
Yeah, just like start when.
yeah, so-
When is that? So you said it's like a week.
Yeah, so like I would do this usually Saturday or Sunday so that it's ready for Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first step that I would do would be go on to the big calendar that we make during those quarterly plannings and see what standard I'm teaching.
Okay.
So that'll give me like the actual standard number, and it'll say something like, you know, like this one is identifying characters and settings. So I'll know what I'm doing. Then I put that into the clear daily target, which is basically like an I can statement, so what they're going to be able to do by the end of the lesson. Then I usually kind of just work through this in order that it's presented, unless I have like a really good idea, like I know I want them to do this activity, then I might plan that out first and work backwards. Checks for understanding happen in between everything, so that's just to like make sure that they know what's going on. So sometimes it'll be something like as basic as like, what are we doing today? Other times, like we have popsicle sticks with their names on them, so we'll have to like cold call kids to make sure that they know what's going on. So sometimes we'll do something more like that. Prior knowledge will be something that you're trying to do to like hook them into the lesson. So usually we'll try to pick something that's going to get them excited. So like this one, we did something with Frozen, and they were all like, "Oh my gosh, it's Frozen! Like I'm so excited." So that type of thing. Or sometimes we'll use like brain pop videos or something like that. That just makes them excited. This is kind of the like meat and potatoes of it would be like the skill development or